everybody. My name's Amanda. I am autistic, and actually several of my children are too. I'm sure most of you coming in here, you guys all play Dungeons and Dragons and things of that nature. For me, it's a little different. There are different challenges that I have to overcome. For example, I started getting back into it after we had kids and we met at the gaming shop, and it was super loud. Some person who was playing Magic was screaming, and that can be really debilitating. There are other things you can consider. Most people who are autistic we don't consider ourselves disabled. What we consider it's a neurological difference, and we're part of our own neurodiversity. Like you have diversity with the different races and religions. We're just neurotype. We just think differently. During some games, I always have to have my hands busy. So what I do personally is I have drawings that I do.
Yay.
Drawings I do throughout the games with all the different characters I play. Yeah, Jay knows this one. And things of that nature. The symbol that people on the spectrum normally use is not the puzzle piece. Puzzle piece generally means we're a puzzle and we need to be solved, which isn't the case. We use the infinity symbol because we are a spectrum and it never ends. Other things to consider is when we're feeling overwhelmed, there's repetitive movements that are called stimming, which is also called self-stimulation. It could be squeezing a stuffed animal, tapping your foot, or anything of that nature. But we're able to play whatever game that you guys are doing. My husband Nick is normally our DM.
I'll be speaking shortly.
And then we have my son Jaden, who is autistic just like me, and he just started playing. Jaden, you want to tell them about your character?
Oh God. Oh, can we strength?
How much is his strength?
15.
You excited? What type of character is he?
Barbarian.
Dragonborn? So another thing that can be challenging is character creation. There's a lot of information, especially in Dungeons and Dragons, that it can be very overwhelming. I will be the first to admit that I usually make him generate my character because I just don't have the patience for it. There's just a lot of information taken at once. And one thing that can help with that is they have different apps that you use for characters. Fight Club is one of my favorite ones, where it will help you roll out the stats and figure everything out yourself. It'll do it for you. Also, not everybody on the spectrum can communicate, so you really should be open to assistive technology. Also be mindful of where you have your game. If you're at a noisy gaming shop where someone's screaming on top of their lungs, it probably will not work out. Probably not. We actually had to move a game I've been playing for over a year because I could not handle the loud noises. I tried different ear defenses, like the earmuffs you use when you go shooting a firearm. And little things that you normally wouldn't think of are normally a big deal. Like if there is a dice with a certain texture that they would probably have their own dice, or they don't have the physical ability to roll dice, there's always dice rollers on the phone and different little things like that.
Hello.
Nick, is there anything you wanted to add?
There's a ton I'm going to add on the phone with Jack. I'll use the microphone because I'm a little soft-spoken.
That would be great.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, so one of the things that you need to keep in mind, especially this is true for all aspects, not just with autism, especially with autism, is your sensory levels. You have to understand that you have to be able to, when you're running a game, you have to be able to accommodate for what's going on in the room. For example, if Jaden's playing and his mind is like everywhere, every which way, so you have to kind of, as a DM, you have to kind of use your creativity to keep it interesting for everybody involved, not just one person, but everybody. So one of the things that a prime example of this is I had created an entire dungeon and an entire game, an entire campaign. Jaden showed up and he said, "Hey Dad, can I play?" So what I did was I gave him a pre-generated character. In between that time, and most recently, as last week, he was trying to figure out how he wanted to play. And one of the situations that they got into was a fight with like zombies or skeletons. And he looks at me and he goes, "That guy is freaking me out. He's a zombie." So I was like, "Okay, so what are you gonna do to him?" He goes, "I'm gonna smash him with a boomerang axe." Okay, cool. And that's all you have to do is take this die and roll and then add that. It's a prime example of being accommodating, because instead of going like over rules and whatever, I'm just like, all right, cool, you can do that. This is what you need to do. And that's a prime example of having a good support system. There's a lot of people in gaming. I have met a lot of people between this panel and the panel at the beginning of the year telling me that there's a lot of people that are antisocial. It's not so much antisocial, it's more like kind of having a hard time opening up. Socially awkward, thank you. That's the term I was looking for. But once you're opened up with a certain group, you feel comfortable. Once you feel comfortable with them, then you'll have things like I explained with Jaden how he was having fun. Okay, well my character's doing this now, my character's doing that. And you can see a progression from day one. Every game, any game that you have ever played in, everybody's just kind of like, all right, I think we're gonna go and do this, and then by 2 or 3 sessions in, this is funny. Can I throw a rock at that wall and make it fall down and like crumble this, or how about I throw a thing and burn down an entire magic shop? That happened in game. But again, as a DM, you gotta be like, okay, cool, let's see if this works. There are some situations where you're like, that's not gonna work out like that. We have to kind of figure a different way. Is there something different you want to do? You kind of get them into it. Once they get into it, everybody's having a lot of fun. That's the key. Is that the games are set up to have fun. Believe me, there are so many ridiculous things that we have in our group and in our sessions.
Like destroying a dungeon with a fireball?
Like destroying a whole dungeon with a fireball.
And then kill the people with the
Or having a dire rat kill an ogre by biting it in the butt. That happened too in the game. You guys are laughing. It's true. This is the kind of stuff that happens in the games. But it's fun. And it's like, okay, let's see how this turns out. And that's when you can tell when somebody's getting the most joy out of any game, is the amount of laughter, fun, and excitement that they have.
And throw a fireball.
Yes, Nikki.
Now, I'm going to go back a little bit because I kind of sidetracked myself. Having a good support group. There are groups out there, and we just recently we're starting up a Facebook, we started up a Facebook group called Southeast Florida Dungeon Club. Now, that's where everybody can get on and share their experiences with D&D or any role-playing game actually, any type of gaming. And it's amazing because you'll start off with like a small little group. Once it gets exposure, some people are just sitting back, hanging back. We had one person that just recently joined the group.
It's me.
Had said nothing for a couple of months. No, it's not you. You're not old enough to have a Facebook yet. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, one of the other members said, "Hey, share one of your favorite D&D or gaming things you find on YouTube." And then all of a sudden, this person starts commenting because he felt comfortable enough to open up. And that's one of the things that it's great to see because, like I said, the progression from when you start, and then once you start getting used to seeing the posts and everybody in the group, then you'll start seeing everybody flourish. Prime example, if you happen to...
Let me add to that.
Yes.
Okay, so face-to-face communication can be really difficult and intimidating. So being able to connect with people over the internet is less intimidating. For me, I can do eye contact, but not for a prolonged period of time. It's actually painful. So being able to communicate with someone without having the face there makes things a lot easier.
I'm going to piggyback on that for a second. There's actually a new thing online called Roll20. Now, Roll20 has the virtual dice, virtual everything that you'd see, like miniatures and everything else, but it's all online. Now, you can choose to have a voice conversation back and forth, a video, or just type in the text box. And prime example, last week, I'm running a session on that. I had one of my players, we had a new person come in, and whenever he has a new person come in, his thing is, he's like, I don't like talking unless I know people, and we're in like a bunch of sessions. We've been doing this game for at least 2 months now. So he's like, I feel bad saying it's not really the new guy's fault, but I just don't feel comfortable. I said, that's not a problem. If you don't feel comfortable talking, don't worry about it. If you have your head things on, just leave your voice muted if you want, and then just type in. It's not a problem. I'll do whatever you need to be just because I don't feel too awkward, socially awkward. I do have my anxieties too. We all do, but I'm more open and more vocal, especially since I'm running the game. But the option is there to use the text. You don't have to do the face-to-face, which, like Amanda said, sometimes can be a little bit.
It can be very overwhelming.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming, and voice too. It can cause anxiety. But if you can make accommodations, then there you go. Then you have an opportunity to get them feeling more and more comfortable. Once everybody spurs up, then you'll have a great group. Some other networks that, especially with Facebook, go on, I'll spiel here. But if you notice, we've got a whole bunch of little knickknacks and things up here. There is a subscription service. So it's not just it's like a mail-in service where you'll, instead of like going out to buy like miniatures or whatever, they'll send you a box with modules, dice, miniatures, all the stuff you need for to start off the game. And that is called Dungeon Crate. The other thing is not only with this service, they have a Facebook page and a community page that they started up. Initially, they had hoped it to be like trading back and forth, but it ended up building into a full-fledged community. Support group, game ideals. Hey, how do you handle this? How can we handle that? Hey, this is a cool thing that we did in a game, or hey, we went to this con and this is what we talked about. And you're sharing ideals, and you're getting ideals back. You're given ideals and suggestions. So there's a constant flow of communication. Again, like I said before, if you're feeling antisocial or a lot of anxiety, then you get then as long as you start this communication process and keep it consistent and make accommodations for each person, or just make general accommodations. Eventually, you're going to have people that feel comfortable enough, and then they're going to start playing, just having fun. Amanda, what else you have?
There are different ways to address people who are adults on the spectrum. Not many people think about this. We are autistic. We don't have autism. Autism is a disease. So a lot of times, I don't take offense to it, but a lot of people will, and you just don't want that. Anything else? Yes, and people who aren't necessarily on the spectrum do have the same feelings. Just keep in mind, just be watchful. Any questions?
So, the group that you're doing is everyone autistic, or are you addressing the autistic factor in the game?
It's inclusion, not everybody is. Okay.
And actually, it works out really well because we had a couple people in our current group that meets at least twice, does 2 games weekly. He hadn't been exposed to this kind, to like an adult autistic or to certain degrees, and he's like, okay. After a while, at first he was a little reserved about it, but now it's a full-fledged. Everybody, right across the board, everybody's having a lot of fun. It's a totally an accepting group.
Do you feel like it's useful for people on the spectrum to get stuff out and stuff?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I could tell you that it did wonders for my social skills. I'm very awkward around people usually, which is why I work for myself, so I don't have to deal with other people. I'm a veterinary nurse, so I go to people's houses and help people with their pets. Okay.
Yeah,
and so I don't have a boss I have to deal with. Oh, you're doing this wrong, or people not very accommodating. I mean, this is Florida, not very people are accommodating. But this definitely helps. It's very good for imagination, and people don't think that we can think outside the box and actually just the opposite. For example, I was playing in that game. My character is a pyrotechnic. So I was in love with fireballs. Okay. I was given a wand that could teleport dead. So I dropped a dead bugbear on top of a live one, and he wasn't expecting me to do that.
it helps to nurture the creativity. Helps also to nurture your social skills and being able to communicate back and forth. Now, this little guy over here, a year ago, before he started getting involved with the games, he wouldn't be up here right now, and he wouldn't be talking. He would be probably hiding underneath the table and whatnot. But yes.
How did you bring up the idea of doing say, my family's not very
The best way to put it, because there is a negative view still around today regarding D&D. That's totally false. The way I explained it was, hey, this is nothing serious. This is just fun. I'm going out to have it's like if you're sitting down playing a regular board game or a regular card game, but it's just allowing me to use my imagination as if I'm writing a book, which I enjoy. And by doing that, once I get myself into a group, I know I'm not going to be out getting into trouble. I know I'm going to have fun with this. This could lead into me being able to publicly speak. Years ago, I wouldn't be standing here in front of anybody. talking.
Definitely wouldn't be Cubmaster.
Definitely would not. But same situation. I wanted to start. I got exposed to it, and I was interested in playing. And I started out that small person sitting in the corner, not talking, not really just absorbing information, saying, okay, what do I need to roll? And now I'm the one running the games, and not stop talking. So, but again, it's all the progression, and that's one of the things. As far as parents, my suggestion is to see if they find a group, a really good group, and it has fun with it. Do some silly stuff in there. Like, don't necessarily say, oh, I'm going to go out and kill this or something. Expose them to a little bit to it. And be like, okay, well, it's telling the story, and this is what you can do in the story. And by doing that, you're communicating back and forth with another group, and that's helping you open up. You'll see it. You won't see it. You won't realize it till much later. Much later. You'll be going back and forth with the group for a while, and all of a sudden one day you're like, oh wow, wait a minute. I feel like I'm more open with people. I'm able to talk with people a little bit better than before.
Yes?
How do you feel about sort of the interaction between systems, like, sort of playing with, like, this has been very Dungeons and Dragons centric so far, like.
I've played other systems too, but sometimes, especially since my brain works faster than the neurotypical brain or the holistic brain, and they tend to get confused. Or you say what? Roll dex dodge. Like my first system actually was Roll with Darkness. And a lot of the systems do mesh in my head a lot.
I guess more like, what have you had, like, experiences that are better or worse with different systems?
The more simple, the better. So, the D6 Star Wars, I happen to be able to play that very well because it's very simple. You have a bunch of skills under the attributes, and they're all listed there. You roll that many dice, and you add it up. But all the math, I constantly have to ask the DM in Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, is this how this is supposed to be? I've been playing for years, but I still have to ask because there's a lot of mechanics into it.
Each system has its own unique attributes. We play Vesum, we play White Wolf, we play D&D, we play Recon, we play a lot of different things under the sun.
Recon made my head hurt.
As far as which system, each person has their own preference on like dice and whatnot that you're using, but it all comes back down to the social interaction and the enjoyment of the game. If you're able to get to that point, then it really wouldn't matter what system you work. One of the key things, though, is having a DM that's able to compensate. Having the person that's directing the game able to compensate and be able to adjust and be like, okay, and understanding and then more outgoing and be able to accommodate for your the games that you're running. It's not every player is equal. Not every person does. Not everybody is the same straight across the board.
That's true.
Yes.
Real question is, so it often has a lot of levels to it. So not everyone is going to get a high section of the scale. D&D can get very complicated. So if you're trying to teach those kind of skills that you can hone in on a game focus.
Be careful with functioning labels, because functioning labels, they would say I'm high functioning is how other people experience me being autistic and not the other way around. Like I have a friend who's in the UK, very intelligent, like she's on mental level, she just doesn't want to say to be in mental. She's she's nonverbal and has a hard time with certain things. But with assistive technology like the iPad communication technology, you wouldn't know that she could ramble off any medication in a formulary and tell you what it interacts with. So,
so I believe that. But I'm talking more like, is there a game you can start for me to do? And it's really something that's
Yeah,
not a regular.
absolutely.
I think that's what would be the easiest.
That one would be the easiest because that's a 2d6 system. That's the easiest system to use. That's one, in my opinion. Other people might have different opinions. But if I were to say you wanted the easiest game or the quickest one to learn, 2d6 system, that's the best one. That's one, like I said, my opinion is the best one because you only have 2 dice to worry about. You have all your numbers right here.
Not only that, is you can make that from any game you want it to be. You can create any type of character.
Any type of world.
Like he created I don't know if you're familiar with Dragon Ball Z. A saying that almost blew up the earth. Where our best friend threw the book and ran out of the room.
Yep, and then you can run a D&D style game with Best.
Which we did.
Because they have the way that system's set up is that it has different types of genre to use. You have Space Odyssey. You have you're out in space and stuff. You've got fantasy, which is the D&D stuff. Then you've got the science fiction werewolf type stuff as well. You've got Gundam type stuff or big mechs and whatnot. So that system has genres, and all you have to do is pretty much be able to generate a character. Once you get that character generated, I mean, that's one of the other things too. If you have a hard time doing it, as long as you have a good DM, they'll help you. They'll get right down in the trenches with you and try to go, okay, well, what do you want your character to do? Okay, you want him to do that, so you should have this skill. And that's one of the ways I do it. Also, my player will tell me if they're having a hard time understanding the system. They'll ask me, they're like, okay, well, I want my character to do this, this, and this. Okay, so you want to take this skill, this attribute, and you want to put some points in here. And then they'll get like a base of how what their character looks like, and what the character wants to do, what they want to do with the character. And then all I tell them is I say, okay, here's the extra points, just dump them in there wherever you want. And then we go from there. So. Repetition helps.
Routine and
Yes,
repetition.
absolutely.
That helps more than anything.
Yep, as long as you that's the one thing with all games, you need to stay consistent with your rulings and whatnot. Yes?
How long does it usually play for? Like 2 hours, 4 hours?
It depends.
As long as you want.
Thank you, Jack. It depends on the attention span. I fade in and out, to be honest, things have to bring me back to planet Earth, but we've done it anywhere from 2 hours, where we were playing till 4 in the morning, and I was like, wait, what time is it? We gotta get up with the kids tomorrow. We gotta get up with the kids in 2 hours.
Yeah, let's see, this last week was like 1 or 2 o'clock, and even I was like, okay, we're done. Let's end the game, man.
When I'm able to throw fireballs left and right.
And that's the other thing, because that's a good point that you bring up, because not all of your players are going to have the same attention span. So some of them will fade out, and they'll be like, man, I'm done. Can I just... Okay, we're clearing your kit. Right, what we do in our groups is we turn you into a plushie. That's right, that's the term. You turn into a plushie.
She puts them in her bag of holding.
There is a story behind this. I'm sure most of you know who BB is from Final Fantasy. My Hebrew name is Afiva, so nickname is BB. So when I'm too tired and I just can't do it anymore, it goes right in my seat and I go to bed.
Yeah. Yep. And at that point, what I as DM do, I'm not sure if the other GM does that. If he was here, he'd tell us. But I background the character. Like I'll act like the character is not there unless something is going horribly wrong, and they need that character to save them, because I've done that a couple times.
Never you.
Yep. And especially with these guys. These guys are play right along with us, with the group. I mean, obviously, the adults in the group are like, we manage our language while they're awake. But once they leave the party, it's like all bets are off.
Okay, are they sleeping yet? Did the medicine kick in?
Yeah. Right. So,
It definitely works better if you can do it as a family. I met him at college and he got me into it, which I'm really glad because it got me more social. But once our kids were old enough, they were showing interest, we got them into it. I mean, Jaden, he started talking at 5. He played a Pokemon tournament and beat everybody, including the adults, without saying a word. That was awesome.
Yes, the Charizard beat him all. The Charizard.
Little by little, as you can see, Pokemon are big in our house. But it's definitely a lot more fun if you can do it as a family. Because we crack little jokes like that. Hey, Cammy, what have you blown up today? Or don't burn down the tavern today.
or let's see, one of the other guys in our that comes over and plays posted something online where it says you always have that one person in the party that casts fireball, and then has a photo of Two-Face on there. Again, that's one of the other things is if these guys, if any of the kids or whatever are sitting in the other room when they're like little, and all of a sudden they hear all the laughter and the excitement of the games in the other room, they're like, oh wow, I wonder what that's about. They're gonna want to sit down and check it out.
And they all play except for Danny. Danny is 4.
Yeah.
Aaron started too.
It all bases on their interests, and that's it. If especially with Jaden, for example, he wanted desperately to play some type of dragon character. So what we did was we made an accommodation, and then sat down with him. We went through the character creation. It took quite a while. He was playing that pre-generated character for quite a while before he actually made his own, which is good because it gave him that exposure and understanding of, okay, well, this is how this is supposed to go. And trust me, the one thing that is a little bit difficult to accommodate for is when there's the complexity of a situation in game where you're like, okay, well, you have to minus this, and then it's like, no, but I got pluses. Okay, roll it, and then tell me what you get with those pluses, and then at that point, I just let them go, add it up, and then I'll do the math in my head and just tell them what happens afterwards. It's so that he can have the excitement and joy and the fun in doing exactly what he wants to do. He'll roll it. He'll go with that routine of I got to add this to this, and then he'll tell me, and then I'll do all the mathematics and be like, okay, well, you minus this, and this, so it's actually this, and then I'll just tell him what happens. Yeah.
That's actually an interesting point. In terms of representing the game state in terms of like sort of kind of thing, like you have like there's miniatures in some games. Do you think it's like easier or harder to like say miniatures or like physical things? Like
I am glad you brought that up.
Okay, from my point of view, I also play in Jay's game. I have a tough time not seeing it laid out on the table. I find it easier when there's miniatures and there's a map. We actually made a gaming table. We took an old coffee table, sanded it off the top, and we painted it over with whiteboard paint and put 2 screens, which I was given a Raspberry Pi, and I hooked it up. So he's able to use digital maps.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
So we took an old, that's one thing I think I started off. So the first store get two two old cell monitors, which were the perfect shape and size, and then a file, like a mesh file thing you put underneath it so it can breathe, and I just drilled a hole for the wiring, and it was not that difficult to make, but we use it a lot, and it doubles as a coffee table.
Like the modifiers and stuff like they're saying, like that happen in the thing. You think like having like some sort of physical representation?
I think that might be easier.
It might be worth a try. I've never tried that with the modifiers having some kind of visual on there.
Because
That's a good idea.
blocked out as sort of,
Because we are very visual, we're not very auditory, we're more visual.
Yeah. Yeah, but that is definitely a good idea. We'll try that. Yes.
When you're teaching the game, so when you make modifications to the game to make sure their experience is positive for them, so they're still learning it, and then more confident after the game is supposed to help their social aptitudes and their skills so they become more confident with it. But for everything you adapt that isn't a real part of the game, does it later hinder, or do you try to unteach it at some point? Because if they took it to like another social setting and they were corrected, couldn't that also demean their confidence? Couldn't it bring it down?
And when they make it positive experience, we also kind of gradually bring it to where the game is supposed to be.
Yeah,
Everything needs to be gradual.
we start them out at level 1. I'm not talking like character levels. I'm talking like basic. Okay, let's have fun with this. And then after a while, we'll add. Okay, well, here's another thing that you got to keep in mind. Here's another thing you got to keep in mind.
So to gradually get them to
So exactly.
So they don't take it to no sort of like this is how you play, and now they're thinking like, yeah, no, that's not how that works, because that would hinder the social.
Exactly.
They're learning
Exactly.
how to-
It's better to do step by step by step up instead of going from here to here.
So you're going here with the
So we're gradually. They don't. We do it so well that they don't even realize what we're doing. Yeah, they don't realize it. But and of course, it's all our own opinions about it, about how to approach everything. Yeah. Yeah. It's all trial and error. It's always trial and error. And again, not everybody across the board is going to do the same thing. Not everybody's going to feel the same way. So that's one of the things that where your GM or the person running the game really needs to shine, because if they're not able to flex a little bit, then they're going to lose a certain group of a certain demographic of players.
And where we live in Palm Beach County, we're in the center where we have 4 specialized schools for autistic people. So we're right in the middle where the population is right there. And being able to accommodate, I mean, there are some places where you would have a negative experience. Like, for example, he was 4, and he was hand clapping when he saw the Spider-Man toy, and they kicked him out. And this is just people that play in school. But we personally work against ADA. We don't believe in it. I went through it when I was a little kid. Very bad experience, like teaching an autistic kid not to be autistic. Accept them for who they are.
Like teaching a left-handed person to write a left-handed.
Exactly. Yeah. Say, no, you have to look me in the eye. No, I don't feel comfortable with that. No.
Yeah, and that left-handed person, when you try to teach from right-handed, ends up becoming ambidextrous later on. So, and I'll get back a little bit here, but going back to that box service, these modules, these things are good. They give you a basic guideline. They give you a guideline of stuff to work with. So you'll have this base idea, and then you can modify it any way you want. And it gives you, okay, well, they should be here, here, and here. And, oh, we'll take care of that afterwards.
He actually used to go into his other's classroom when he was in Main Street and told the teacher that she was doing it wrong. And he was actually right.
He's not shy.
going back to what I was just talking about, once you have that steady routine, and that's where these things come in handy, especially for the newer ones, the newer kids or any new player coming in. You'll have that whole list, and it'll be step by step by step on things you should be doing. Granted, they're not going to realize that you're doing it in a step, because you're going to be like, okay, well, these are the rooms, this is where they can go. Have fun, tell me what you guys are doing. And then, as they get into those areas, you can describe some of the stuff. I don't always use, me myself, I don't always use everything in here. I use it as a basic guideline. I can change whatever to fit what I can tell the room is having fun with. That's the other key thing. You should be able to read the room. If you got players that are pretty much like completely bored and have had it with the game, it's time to try something different. Try something different. Or maybe take it to effect that the game may have gone on a little bit too long, and just pin it up and be like, okay, we'll start off next time fresh. So, I mean, you're the
That's not why we're here. The resident expert.
she is the resident expert.
The choice must be revealed.
Oh, yes, yes. I can also explain to you exactly what that's like.
I'm very sensitive to sound. It's actually kind of funny because I have a hearing loss too.
I can't hear high-pitched sound. So when things get to be too much or too intense, it starts off with a headache, and then it gets worse. And any little thing, like I can walk in and from the end of the day, and my friend's actually talking to me. I just had too much from that day. It literally feels like your head is going to explode if you don't get used to silence and darkness at the same time. But there are certain sensory stimuli that can help you get out of it. Like for me, I have lavender incense in my room, and that actually helps. And I have a small weighted pillow I'll put on my head. Jaden actually has a weighted vest that he got from his insurance when he's feeling anxious. We'll put it on him, and it's just like a bear hug. So a lot of it is also, you want firm pressure. Soft pressure can actually feel painful. So like you want like this, not like that, because that's definitely a lot worse. I do have them. I only have to bring them with, you know already that we're involved in Scouts. We get the whole pack together. We got 40 boys. And everyone's loud, and they're used to Jaden having his. I have my own, and I usually only have to use them on pack night.
Now,
So they're just like it's us.
another way that you can combat the sensory overload, especially with noise, is because in a game setting, it's happened many times. You got everybody shouting what they want to do all at once. You get that one you'll get a person that's just, like she's had it before where it's gotten way too loud so she couldn't focus anymore. And as a DM, I stopped the game and explained to the players, okay, everybody's going to go around, you'll each have a chance to tell me what you're doing. Once you finish talking, it goes to the next person. And then I'll answer everybody afterwards. So we go right around the table, as it does. It'll get really loud because everybody's excited. They want to have fun. They want to tell us what their character's doing. But then you have 5 voices yelling at one person. It's even for the person that's taking all the information in that it can get overloaded. But if you have an anxiety issue or something like autism, that could really damage your experience. And that's not what we want to do. I want to, like I've been standing up here, I keep promoting this outward, but fun. That is the core. That's what the games are set up for. So that's one of the techniques you can use.
And it's not just autism, you have ADHD where a lot of things do overlap. I'm lucky enough, I call myself a shiny autist. I was diagnosed with ADHD first when I was a kid, at 32 years old. Wait, I'm just like my son. I'm gonna bring
My
myself
hair
in.
is not.
Looked at my 40-page evaluation, I was my mother did, right? She did that evaluation every 20 years. Yeah, they diagnosed you, sick.
We're almost at our time, so before everybody...
We do have things for you. Our friends at Dungeon Crate sent some dice bags, and I have...
Stickers, we have some modules, we have some
We
other
have
stuff,
what we
so...
was about the magnets. And this is also really helpful. These are boat maps.
Alright, so... We have a limited amount of pre-made up dice bags with
I have
extra
some
stuff.
too. I have
Oh, you have
I
more?
have some from last time.
How many you got?
I don't remember. Nikki, that was soup. Nikki, whose costume is that? Who are you? Who are you? Goku.
Not Gohan. Dad, tell me empty.
On the other spectrum that they used to call Asperger's. At 2 years old, he was telling me.
Nikki, stop.
Yeah, he was about 20 months old.
If you guys want one of these, you guys could come up and...
Dad, tell me empty. Dad,
You want to hand out stickers? Give everybody a sticker. Thank you. We have plenty of stickers.
Dad.
We've got buttons, we've got these.
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And then we've got this guy.
Inside, we'll have your list here. Inside these ones. Yes. That's actually, if you flip it over, it's got top left, bottom left.
Oh, wow.
And these are free.
So I read the blog where all the different
Thank you, Joyce.
Let's just pick this up.
I looked at it, most of my family, the only one I said about Danny's actually supposed about me. Yeah, we're
He's taking initiative and going and handing out the buttons.
I took one. Joyce, do you have those cards?
I think you should still pass. There's a you want one of these? You can look them up. And it's got like
Absolutely.
they're all different. Yeah, they're all different. If you got, those ones don't have stickers in them.
And you always include.
I want the dragon one.
Yeah, true.
What I got next.
Thank you. I know I did
Oh,
not
they can take one of the masks too.
Get a dinner.
But